Welcome back to another video where I share with you a recipe you can add to your meal plan that is sure to be a crowd pleaser. If you're new here, my name is Leah and I am all about spending less and creating more, and then showing you how you can do the same thing in your kitchen as well. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you stick around for our chicken fettuccine Alfredo as well as a low carb version. This is Savvy Saute. One of my husband's favorite dishes that I make is fettuccine Alfredo, and I always get started with boneless, skinless chicken breast. I trim off the fat and then I slice them into thinner pieces. It just helps them cook faster, and it also gives you more surface area for seasoning. So then later on when you slice it, you're not going to have big parts of the chicken that don't have seasoning. So that's just my little tip for you today. Also, when I purchase these big family size packs of chicken breast, I like to cook all of it at once. It just gives us an opportunity to have ready to go chicken breast prepared for salads or dinners. That way I don't have to worry about cooking it more than once. Cook once, eat multiple times. It's just really easy to do it that way. And we're going to bake it in the oven. So while you're preparing this, just go ahead and have the oven preheating at 400 degrees. I will either bake these in casserole dishes or even on a large cookie sheet. I just like to drizzle it with some oil. Today I'm using some vegetable oil. I also really like using olive oil if I have that on hand. Then you're just going to go ahead and make sure that all of the chicken has some of that oil on top. And we're going to season it pretty generously. My favorite seasoning to use is this 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's. I also add some salt and garlic powder to that. And then once that is all seasoned, just go ahead and pop that into your oven for about 35 to 40 minutes, depending on how thick your slices are. So next we're going to go ahead and move on to the Alfredo sauce. This recipe is perfect for if you're hosting a large gathering, maybe a holiday party, because it easily feeds 8 to 10 people with this recipe, and you're not going to feel like you've been cooking in your kitchen all day long. It stretches really well, and also you can freeze the leftovers. So I'm starting with 3 tablespoons of butter in a large pot, and then chopping up 1 large onion. You can use any kind of onion that you happen to have. I am using white because that is what I purchased on clearance. Just make sure that it is a large onion. If they're smaller, go ahead and use 2. Chop them up nice and small and add it to your melting butter and let that just saute on the stovetop until they're nice and translucent and tender. While the onions are doing their thing, go ahead and work on your garlic, and I am using 6 entire cloves. Your standard Alfredo recipe is pretty good, and it uses the onion, the butter, heavy cream, and Parmesan, but the garlic is that missing touch that you're not going to want to skip on. Once you add the garlic into the pot with the butter and the onions, you're just going to let that go for about 30 seconds until it's nice and fragrant. And then we're going to add about a half a teaspoon of pepper and 1 whole teaspoon of salt. Mix that in, and then we're going to add the entire carton of heavy whipping cream. Combine that until it's nice and warm. And then we're going to add some more milk. I'm adding just about 1 cup. This combination of both milk and heavy cream is going to be a more frugal option as opposed to using just heavy cream, but it's also going to allow it to not be quite as thick and rich by cutting it with some milk. We're then going to add in about 4 handfuls of grated Parmesan cheese and let that cook for just a few more minutes. It's going to heat all the way through, let that cheese melt, and then you're going to have a nice, thick, delicious Alfredo sauce. So set that aside and make sure that we have our pasta ready to go as well. I'm using an entire pound of fettuccine. Once the chicken comes out of the oven, you can then separate some of it for a low carb version to serve to your family or friends by just putting some Alfredo sauce onto that, and then you can serve it with a low carb vegetable or side of your choice. We really like to have broccoli here. And then for the rest of it, you can combine the pound of pasta once it's completely cooked into all of that Alfredo sauce, stir it around so it's nice and coated, top it with the sliced chicken that we have baked, and then put sprinkled Parmesan cheese onto everything after that. I hope that this meal gave you some inspiration for your meal plan this week, and as always, until the next video, I will see you in the comments.